Fambulen Onaldo, Guinea and Salome, the Yenga issue is still a major issue where diplomatic tie get for involved for make them work out for solve this problem. Because when you watch what dey happen right now, to be honest, I no want for take side, but Guinea they really take advantage of Sierra Leone because of sometimes they look at us say Sierra Leone is a small country, we not get much strong military back, so then that make them they do so they still continue on our all know Yenga issue. I no go one for consider again for explain the Yenga and Salome, but Yenga and Salome get them, not to Guinea get them. So now advantage Guinea they use no more. But the good thing way for happy here because now one of the things and the way we for really be careful how for handle away with government for really be careful. Land dispute between two countries. When they see what they happen in Israel and Gaza. When they see what they happen in India and Pakistan, that Kashmir where they call. When they see other places, many places where land dispute it create a kick out serious issue if the diplomatic people are not managed well. So do you want for talk to the Salome government on handle this matter into care, make it not lead to escalation, it bring problem between for them poor people where they live on that side. Even like I say, I don't want for take side, but Guinea or Guinean government that they really they provoke situation at that side. So yesterday or days ago, issue happened again. When I listen to Mr. Umaru Fofana, where he give reports now BBC the current happen which happen in Guinea. They when I listen what they say.
Relationship was strained when Guinea continued to control the border town of Yenga, which it had entered during the conflict in Sierra Leone. Regional adjudication failed to end the stalemate, and now things have escalated. Guinean troops have fired shots inside Sierra Leone. This is unprecedented, and people are nervous. Umaru Fofana has been following developments from Freetown. We started our conversation with a bit of background.
Yenga is a village perched on the hills in the eastern Sierra Leonean district of Calahon. It borders neighboring Guinea. Literally, it's a stone's throw coming from Guinea. There's a stream or a river called the Makuna River, which stands between the area and neighboring Guinea. It's a largely run-down area. In fact, Yenga and its surrounding villages, such as Sokoma, such as Pondu. Pondu was the first village where Ebola was recorded when it spread into Sierra Leone from neighboring Guinea. And it's inhabited mostly by the Kisi people who find themselves in all of that area, in Guinea, in Sierra Leone, and in Liberia.
So it's right on the border. I imagine that people to and fro quite easily between Guinea and Sierra Leone. But what's the historic dispute between the two countries about this terrain?
Yes, exactly. I mean, people traverse the border there quite easily, which is why the current situation is worrying them a lot. In the last hour or so, the paramount chief, who is a traditional leader in the area, says that yesterday, which was usually a market day across the border in a place called Nongowa, the people in Yenga and the surrounding areas were not allowed, the traders were not allowed to take their produce across the border. Their history is really intertwined in the sense that you find the same Kisi people in all three countries in that area. And during the war, Guinea sent its troops to the area to help ward off the RUF rebels, which was acquiesced, in fact, it was requested by the government of Sierra Leone. They were there and they helped bring the war to an end. But shortly after that war ended, Guinea laid claim to the area, saying it had always been a part of its territory, which obviously Sierra Leone denies, insisting that the river, the Makuna River, which is a natural border, is what divides the two countries. Therefore, Sierra Leone says Yenga is a part of its territory.
So how much more do we know about what happened recently with the incursion?
We don't know much because the Sierra Leone armed forces are not speaking on record, but two military sources have told me that they had heard in the lead up to Independence Day on the 27th of April, the Guinean troops were planning to encroach into Sierra Leone territory by taking a village called Sokoma. So as a result, there was a build-up of Sierra Leonean troops in Sokoma itself because they are not allowed to go to Yenga, where Guinean troops have been stationed since the end of the war, barring the fact that at some point it was demilitarized, but then the Guinean soldiers returned to the place. So once the soldiers of Sierra Leone had heard that this was happening, they beefed up their presence in the area, which led to the situation that caused the Guinean soldiers to fire shots. I understand in the air. The local member of parliament in the area is Fala Kenawa Tengbe, and this is what he told me.
On Monday, the 28th of April, they went to a close-by village called Sokoma, and they wanted to intimidate the civilians. Unfortunately for them, they met our Sierra Leonean soldiers, and they were resisted. So when they went back, they reorged and they crossed over 200 to 300 military armed personnel into the land of Yenga. After a few seconds, we had 3 shots fired from their garrison base. Nobody has access into Guinea from Yenga into Longoa. They have annexed Yenga, and 2, they have built permanent structures. Thirdly, they are intimidating peaceful civilians. They are displaying sophisticated weapons. They have stopped people living at Yenga from farming. This has actually created a huge tension as we speak.
How would you describe the current atmosphere in and around Yenga?
The atmosphere at Yenga is pretty much tense. That place is super tense.
Does Fala Kenawa Tengbe, the local member of parliament in the area, which includes Yenga?
So what have the Sierra Leonean authorities said about this? Not at a local level, but at a national level?
Obviously, they have sounded very angry. The few of them who have spoken on record, they have emphasized on the point that Sierra Leone and Guinea are, sisterly nations and good neighbors. Therefore, the long-running nature of the Yenga dispute is something which they would rather was put behind them. The country's foreign minister, Timothy Kaba, spoke to me from the United States.
The government's position basically is to defend the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Sierra Leone, and over the period we've been engaging diplomatically to find a way to pacify the impasse and get the Guineans to withdraw from the occupied territory of Yenga.
Do we know whether Conakry and Freetown, whether the 2 leaders of these countries have spoken on this matter since it happened on Monday?
Absolutely, the 2 leaders have spoken. President Mamadi of Guinea assured President Bio that the 2 leaders will meet and discuss the issue and find a lasting solution to the problem. And we also escalated the complaint to ECOWAS to find a redress mechanism within the organization. We would definitely arrive at the point where the Guineans would de-escalate and exit Sierra Leone territory that they've so callously occupied.
That's Timothy Kaba, and he's Sierra Leone's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Umaru, did this come as a surprise? And are people wondering why now?
It did come as a surprise. The fact that this was the first time that shots were being fired in that area since the war ended, despite the long-running claim by Guinea, it has surprised everyone here, which is why people are...
Okay, family, when I don't listen, one for tell thank you to Mr. Umaru Fofana. We hope say we authority them go really take careful, because I tell you now, the land dispute now something way a very then get for treater into better way. We see what they happen Russia and Ukraine, all about land disputes. So I hope say with the government of Sierra Leone and the people of Guinea also for get that will for able give the place to the Salon people, because that place in Sierra Leone and they get that place there, not to Guinea, but Guinea they use the advantage because sometimes they look at us say we country sizable small and also we not get that strong military power like them. But I hope say instead of go to war, then we'll find solution for solve out that issue there. Thank you and see you in the next video.